sweetheart.
Good morning. We're back.
Reunited, and it feels so good. Reunited. I don't know the words. What's the matter, sweetheart? Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you? Happy Tuesday. We are back in action together again at last.
Back home.
Back home.
No, home away from
Hi,
home.
Jen. Good morning. Good morning. I feel too little, and I need to do something. Okay. All right.
Where you were?
So no, now I'm on my tippy toes because then I'm too short. Normally I wear heels sometimes when we do this, so I don't feel like Thank you, Jen. It's good to be back. I missed you, little chicken nuggets. A day away. I was like, where are my little star beams? I missed you. Hi. So today we are going to talk about what to do when your partner does not support your dreams and your visions. And quite honestly, it doesn't have to be your partner that we're talking about. It doesn't have to be your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife,
family,
partner.
friends.
It could be your mom,
yourself.
your sister. But it could be a lot of different people in your life where you feel like you're going for something and somebody else just is not supporting you. So what does that look like when somebody is not supporting your visions? Let's say it could be any goal that you want. You want to write a book. You want to lose weight. You want to quit your job and do something else. We'll get back to that one. But what does it look like when somebody's not supportive, Doug?
Well, it's a variety of things. And then, we'll get to what do you do about that because, we're
going to talk about what is it?
Is it true is the other thing. But oftentimes it shows up as criticism or questions that seem to be heading towards failure or the impact it's going to have, or
there's overt and covert ways that people show they're just so like overtly, which is like obviously people show they're not supportive by maybe criticism, like you were saying, and they'll say to you things like, what are you doing? I mean, you've tried that before and that hasn't worked. Or
that'll never work.
Is that really the way you're going to do that? Or I'm not quite sure that, you know what you're doing, and I know you don't know what you're doing. Then there's like an overt sense of like, let me help you. If you're going to do it, let me show you how you should really do it. Or let me manage or control how you're going to do it. Or it's more pragmatism and less criticism, and that's more of an overt kind of way, which is covert kind of way, which is, are you sure that this is going to work? Right? I just don't want to see you fail. So let me point out all the problems that you're going to face along the way. And this will come up a lot for people when in another life, when we worked in recovery with people, and we still serve people that way too, but we serve everybody now, not just people in recovery. But when we were in recovery, there was this real sense of like, holy cow, you're going to try to do this again. You're going to try to get sober. You're going to try to get better, and a critique on the way that people were going to do it or how they were going to do it. And really, why people do that at the base of it, like we have a rule in our marriage so that we always get the best result, right? No matter if there's conflict or whatever. And our rule is assume the best about each other.
Right.
Give each other the benefit of the doubt that what we're doing, we're not doing maliciously or to hurt you, that we're doing it for a good reason, our own good reason, right? It's not helpful for you, but that we assume the best, that whatever we're doing for a reason. So why would somebody be acting that way towards you?
Fear.
And what do you think they're afraid of?
Their fear of their fear of being lost. Their fear of that person maybe becoming
outgrowing you.
Yeah, ultimately.
If you get better, if you lose the 50 pounds, all of a sudden you're going to be hot or hotter in my imagination, and you're not going to want me anymore.
And you may have references for that. As an example,
if you get sober, you're not going to want me anymore.
Right. As an example, I had a relationship, a marriage before this.
No, you didn't.
Yeah. And what happened was in many ways that did happen, where I did outgrow. I was on a path, and it was, and it wasn't support. Like, well, here's the other way it could also come out as like a support from afar. And this is where, like, when we talk about what to do about it, is there's a point at which just going, okay, yeah, you go ahead, okay, and just let it happen. But then it could actually create that gap, because there are many reasons why the relationship ended. But what happens is, if you're not on the same page, if you're not growing together and you're not communicating together, it could create the very thing you're afraid of in the first place that you're trying to prevent. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, which is why it's so important to have the conversation.
People sometimes will settle for connection instead of becoming their fully realized selves, right?
Right.
I have this dream in my heart. I know that I really want to pursue this goal or do this thing, but if I do that, that might intimidate you, my partner, make me, lose connection with you. So instead of, and we do this with friendships, we do this with work situations, I'll just stay here with you so that you approve of me and that you like me, because heaven forbid I should go bigger and intimidate you or make you feel less than. So I'll shrink to make you feel more comfortable.
And of course, that's
really
healthy.
What we're doing, right? And that is the worst possible thing, because even if you grow and you lose somebody in the process, then that was a reason or a season to be with that person. That was just not everything ends. Everything ends. And I think when we get into this mindset that it has to be a certain way forever, that this is just the way I am or the way you are, the way we are, we're always changing and growing. We're always in a constant state of evolving and really becoming.
And that's where the communication is so key, so that you can express honestly how you're feeling, and know that we're all on this, like, what we want is to, like, we want the relationship to work. If you want your friendship to work, if you want whatever, then you can express, like, hey, this is what I want. I want us to have this kind of relationship, and here's what I'm feeling, and here's what's going on. And then you have the opportunity to discuss it and be able to say, oh, I see what's going on. Yeah, of course. No, I'm not doing it because that's what happens. It's two things. One, is it true? Right? Whatever is going on, is it true? And then will this person leave? Will this person outgrow? Will this person, like, all this is, because what you're doing is you're writing a story. You're writing a story that isn't necessarily, and it's usually 99.9% of the time not the case. Then you make all these decisions. You start having all these thoughts in your head. You start showing up in a way that's either overtly or covertly sabotaging, because you've made this story of what you think is going to happen, which hasn't happened, A, in the first place, and B, probably isn't going to happen unless you continue doing what you're doing, what you're trying to do to avoid you're afraid it's going to happen in the first place. If that made sense.
I'll give you a perfect example, a real life example, right? There are some goals that you're going to go for, and you're not going to need your spouse's support because you've already decided, or your partner's support. You don't need people to co-sign, give you permission slip to go for it, right? Because those are things typically are easier things for you to do, right? You've decided you're going to quit something, or try something new, or start taking lessons of something. Pretty easy to do. Where you'll notice what's really going on with you is when it's a really tough decision. Like, let's say that I want to lose 50 pounds, and I'll say, all right, great. And then my partner has the fear come up. Well, if you lose the 50 pounds, what's going to happen? Are you going to make me eat healthy? Am I going to have to lose 50 pounds?
But what that's really behind is if I'm like, oh, you lose 50 pounds, now you're going to be like even more attractive to everybody else. And then people are going to be like, hey, baby. And you're like, ooh, that's nice. And then you're not going to want me anymore.
Exactly. So
and
there's the story.
Right.
And so what'll happen is, if you're not committed to your vision, what you'll do, and what we've done, what I've done, is say, oh, well, they don't like that, so I'm not going to do that. Well, I'll just go ahead. Maybe I won't lose the 50 pounds because I don't want to, it's too hard. I don't want to create friction in my relationship. You'll use the excuse instead of saying, well, honey, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm hot. You better get on the train or off the track. I'm going to lose these 50 pounds, and better catch me while I'm running down the street, right? I love you, and reassure, I'm not going anywhere. I see the fear that's bringing up in you, and I'm not asking you to join me in this journey and the weight loss, but I am asking that when you see me eating salad, you don't offer me cake, right? And you lay down.
Or how about some more blue cheese dressing?
Right. So then the other thing is, there are dreams that you want to go for, and you say, all right, well, I am going to go for it, and I'm going to go to the gym, so I need your help. We have this conversation, like, these are the days I want to go to the gym. How can we work it out? If you don't want to be a part of that, I'll find a way for childcare, arrange it, or whatever, because you're so committed to your goal. But there are other dreams that we have that affect our partner, that when we go for them, it does disrupt them, and that's real. I remember when I was still working in my corporate job, after I'd been out of corporate for a long time, I'd been a freelancer forever, got back into the time punch situation. And I wanted to get out as fast as I could. I mean, I loved it, but I wanted to get out of that mentality of working for somebody else. I always liked to work for myself. And so that was always on the horizon, but we would have these talks about when I go totally on my own, when I move into private practice completely, when I just go full-time coaching. And that's a decision that was going to affect our entire family. So those are decisions that you have a dream in your heart, but it requires the team to make the dream, right? Where you say, all right, he's going to support me because he's full of fear, right? Realistically, like he's never seen me build it. He's not sure how that's going to go. How's that going to affect our finances?
Well, that's usually what it is when
finances are involved, that's when you know.
And that's the tough thing, is that emotions get so wrapped up into the finances, and the truth is that's the worst thing that can happen. And it's normal. We still do it. We get concerned, like, oh, we're going to do this. We're going to, invest here. We're going to leverage this. We're going to, and like, what is that going to look like? What is that going to mean? And then the fear starts cropping up. Challenge is if you make any decision out of fear, it's very often the wrong one. So if my fear is she's going to fail, or she's not going to add the value, or whatever my fear is,
I'm gonna have to carry everything.
Right.
Whatever.
And then what's going to happen is I'm going to start showing up poorly, and I'm going to be even less supportive. And that's where the covert, it's not conscious. And that's why the conversation and the awareness is so important. It's not conscious very often that a saboteur is showing up. It's the other than conscious fear that is showing up, and it's manifesting in those behaviors.
And so how our responsibility in that, if I'm committed to that dream and I'm really committed, and I'm not going to say, oh yeah, it's too hard, I don't want to put stress on the family, let me just keep a job while I build this business, let me just keep doing, because I want to then use it as an excuse because I'm really scared to go for it deep down. So any excuse will do, right? Including the friction. All motion causes friction. To think that you're going to move in a direction that's different from your partner or different from what you've been doing, any motion causes friction. So as soon as you go, there will be opposition, right? Where is it coming from? So for me, when I knew I'm going to leave the 9-to-5 and I'm going to do my business solely, I was smart about it. There was no way I was going to put my family at financial risk, right? As much as I could possibly not do that, was let me build my practice. Let me get my clients. Let me get everything, all my ducks lined up, my programs, my products. Let me think about everything and use the situation I'm in at work to be able to be the kind of stability. So I'm not recommending that you just have a dream and you go, well, it's my dream to start a business. I don't know what it's going to be, but I'm going to quit. You're going to carry us and I'm going to figure it out. It's be smart about it, right? It's find a path and say, okay, I'm so committed to this goal that I'm going to do it either way, but I'm going to do it in a way that makes us feel most supported, that creates as less friction as possible. And I can tell you, a year later, I'm earning way more than I ever did at the job, okay? But because I set it up that way and I knew the steps I needed to take to be able to be successful. And I reached a point in my life, midlife crisis is real, guys, where I was like, I'm not gonna work. I heard this quote, spend your life working, following your own dreams, or work for somebody else who did, follow theirs, right? And that's really, so don't let your partner be the person that, or your mother or your friend be like, are you sure you can do that? Because all that is a reflection of their own disbelief in themselves to be able to pull said trigger on their own goals, right? It's just a mirror.
Well, and that's how it shows up. And again, it's almost always covert. Sometimes you will have the people like literally just shut it down.
That's easy to get rid of because you're like, haters going to hate.
Yeah.
Haters going to hate. But what if it's like, are you sure, sweetie? That doesn't seem like that's really your skill set. I mean, that's really hard. I remember I had people in my own family when I was leaving my corporate gig to like go full-time in coaching, was like, you could sell Avon. You could, and like, but that's like, that's not an attempt to say you can't do it, I don't believe in you. But what it'll do if you're insecure is it'll trigger you up and go, should I do Arbonne instead? Like and hey, Arbonne's a great path for people that do that, or Avon or whatever. That's not my path. My path is I have my own products, I have my own programs.
Well, and here's the other thing that happens a lot is that people will share their strategy.
How they think you should do it.
Right. And it may have worked for them. And, like, here's the challenge.
We did that in our relationship with like how we're going to launch something or do something. And this is what everybody else is doing. And we have those conversations all the time.
Well, right, but those are conscious conversations. It's different than.
But I don't follow how people do it.
Well,
because I don't care to do that. I want to do it.
Okay, so
that's a whole nother conversation.
See, I don't go west to follow the sunset.
No, listen,
That's just what I do.
I don't care what everybody else is
No, it's
doing.
not a question of caring what other people are doing. It's an awareness of shortening a bell curve, but that's another conversation. But that's the thing, is it's conscious conversation, right? So when someone is giving unsolicited advice, you take it with a grain of salt, and then you could say, well, okay, that makes sense, or it doesn't. But what happens is we take it personal. We're like, oh, wait a minute, you're telling me that way because you don't think I can do it.
Yeah.
Or you're, it's like, well, no, that's just their model. That's what worked for them, right? And oftentimes when they worked for them or whatever they did out of fear, and maybe they could have sped the process up had they done it the way you're doing it or what have you. And
I have couples that want to lose weight or whatever, and the wife wants to lose weight, and the husband will be like, well, everybody else is doing the Atkins, and I see you doing this lot of fat, and I don't really see how that's going to work. And this criticism sets into the wife, and who cares how she does it? If the husband goes, yeah, you'll be sexier, I think I'll be more attracted to you. Yeah, I can get on board with that. Get out of her way. Stop telling her what you think is going to help her lose weight the faster. She don't care, okay? That's going to be discouraging to her, all right? And I know the husband's doing that because he really wants her to succeed. He really wants her to be effective. He really wants to go, let's tighten up the learning curve here, babe. Let's stay out of it, right? She decided to lose the weight. How do you care if she eats tuna sandwiches or chips to do it? It shouldn't matter to you. It just matters that she's doing the damn thing, right? Doesn't matter what it looks like. So give up. You're not in control. You know what happens with a lot of relationships is that man wants to be able to say when she loses the 50 pounds, I helped.
That may be.
I mean, come on. Let somebody live their dream and just be the truth. What would it be like just to step back and go, if you need my help, ask me. If you need my assistance, ask me. If you need my input, I'm here for you. But otherwise, let me watch this rocket take off. Do it, baby. I believe in you.
That's the difference of just sitting back and watching as well. It's being supportive and
same
and
is
so
true
forth.
with people who are in recovery, with the families that we would say, well, they're not going to do AA. Everybody else does. And the fear sets in. It's like, honey, how do you care? What do you care? If the end result is they're happy and healthy and sober and free, I don't care if they have to stand on the street corner and eat spaghetti 5 times a day and say, praise the Lord. It doesn't matter to me how somebody does it. I just care that they do it.
Right. And so now to help people who are
I got fired up. I got a calf burn because I was standing on my calf.
So
getting fired up.
So a way to also look at this, start there.
Don't start here. This is years of going, I'm gonna do it.
But here's the thing. But that's also not a sustainable
That's not realistic
thing. What's not about realistic? If I'm on the receiving end, fuck you, I'll do it.
No, I'm not gonna say like that.
But my point is, but here's the thing. Here's the challenge. You want to be healthy about it as well. Healthily express yourself or understand and go. If someone is going in treatment, and that's what we dealt with the families when we were doing that, when you use that example, what do you want?
Do you want the
allow
feedback?
them. Well, no. I'm saying for yourself.
It
doesn't matter. Yeah,
it doesn't matter how
I want them to be happy. Well,
right.
Great. So yes, AA worked for you and may have worked for others, but for them, this is working. Support it. Now, if their strategy is I'm going to quit drinking by smoking crack, that's not really a good strategy, and that's an appropriate one to go. But
then we just go, are you sure that's the best strategy?
Right.
Period. Do you want assistance? Do you want help?
Right. But come from assuming the best again. And if we come from a place of frustration and anger and I'm going to do it anyways, what's going to happen is you're going to create the very challenge you want to avoid in the first place. But if you come from a loving place,
let's be careful on the chair. Remember,
you come from a loving place, assuming the best about them, and saying, "What do we want? Big picture."
I'm scared. I watched something that's very scary.
You watched something that's very scary. What was it?
I saw a bear that had creepy hands. It looked like a zombie.
What?
That had fur that was black and I thought it was a zombie, but it's actually a bear.
Sometimes we think
actually a
things
bear,
are
but it looked
zombies,
like
but
a zombie?
like when we go for stuff, we think like our fears are worse than the reality. I get you. Very, very deep this morning, Allie. Deep.
I was very scared.
You were scared, and then you realized it wasn't as bad as you thought it was going to be. That's like any goal. That's like anything you see in life.
I was very scared. I thought it was going to come in the house.
You thought it was going to come in the house out of the iPad? Oh my goodness. It was going to take your breakfast?
All right. Well, do you want to say anything about being able to go and have people believe in you? Like we're talking about when you want to do something and then you don't think you can do it, and then somebody says, "You can do it, Ellie. I believe in you. You can do it." Or when you want to try something on your own, and I say, Are you sure you want to do it like that? And you say, "Mommy, I know what I'm doing. Let me do it." Right? And sometimes I have to be reminded. Yeah.
So, well, good morning, everybody. So Heather says, love you, fellow power couple.
Yes, you are
Heather,
your
you guys
own pair of
rock.
power couple.
Amanda says, you're liking the hats. Look like you're different. Really?
To Heidi, sorry I left service. Going up the mountain
my hair this
yesterday.
morning.
Yes, good. Great sesh yesterday. Love you, love you guys too. We hope that you have a fantastic Tuesday. Do you want to say anything to our friends about going for your dreams?
Going for a dream. Let me say, and move.
Can you put some verbs in there? Can I buy vowel? Can you put some verbs in there and real words?
So, and Tim on Instagram said he did work out yesterday. He came on and yesterday, and we talked about going to the gym, and he did. Good job. Thanks for the mojo.
Trimmer.
Look at that,
Trimmer's working out.
Everyone says good
Dad,
morning.
do you want to try this?
No, I don't.
I
But
think he
thank you.
does. No, I'm just kidding. Sally, good morning, Sally. Good morning, Taryn.
So, as a reminder, always, if there's anything you'd like to address, this is an interactive. Sorry we didn't get to all your stuff at the time, but we do our best to come back to them. If there's anything you want us to discuss, to chat about, we are all here for you. If this was helpful, share it so we could spread the love even more. Go to our YouTube channel, Revolutionary Growth TV, and subscribe and share that.
What's your little kid is it? Subscribe to our videos.
Well, that's how the cat says it. And Stephen just got on.
Hey,
good morning. Hey,
thanks. Listen, thanks for the truck and the muscles.
Oh, yes. Thank you for taking care of Heidi.
Our new little couch. She's rapping, no vowels, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, we love you. Bye.
All right, we love you for who you are and...
Dad, I was going to say that.
Okay, go ahead.
Actually, you could do it.
Oh, I can do it this time? We love you for who you are and who you aren't. All righty. Mwah.
I'm going to do this.
Love
Good
that.
job.
Oh, a big exploding kiss. Love it.